Hi there and welcome back to my channel. I'm Julia, traveling speech language pathologist, and today we're going to talk about one of my favorite subjects, and that's how you too can be a traveling speech language pathologist. So let's talk about it. First of all, very quickly, what is a traveling speech language pathologist? When I talk about Travel SLP, I mean you're taking 3-month contracts, generally 3 to 9 month contracts across the US working short-term jobs. So you leave your home, you leave your stuff at home, go to another place, get temporary housing, work a job there, and then kind of repeat that process every 3 to 6 to 9 months. That's what I mean as a traveling therapist. Personally, I've been a traveling therapist a long time. I started in 2010 and I've been taking contracts up until 2022. It's the beginning of 2023. I didn't take one yet this year, but I've been doing it on and on and on, and I've kind of become a master at taking travel SLP contracts. You can see in the comments, in the description of this video, I have a lot of information about how to be a travel SLP, a lot of free information. But if you also want a step-by-step mentoring program to become a travel SLP, I have a paid program you can join. But let's get into it. How do you become a travel SLP? I'm going to go through about 10, 11 steps today. The first step is to determine why you want to do it and if it's a good fit for you, meaning are the goals you have reasonable, and is it something you would enjoy? Travel SLP definitely isn't for everybody. I mean, as much as I encourage people to be travelers, I also maybe try to convince them not to be travelers, because it sounds like maybe what they expect travel to be, their expectations aren't quite the reality of travel. So with that being said, kind of determine your why and figuring it out. The second thing you should definitely do if you're thinking about becoming a travel SLP is research what it means to be a travel SLP and what are the realities of being a travel SLP. I can tell you're already in step 2 just because you're watching this video. So as you're watching this video, think about, why do I want to be a traveler, and research that even more. For instance, like if your goal is, say, to make $2,000 a week after taxes, you could do that as a traveling therapist. If your goal is to make $2,000 a week after taxes in a very specific location and you'll only go there, that might not work. So you kind of have to prioritize and think about, why do I want to be a traveling therapist? What's drawing me to it, and is it reasonable? And you can do that by doing research, and you can watch the videos on my channel, check out all the blogs. I have a lot here. Next up, and this might not necessarily be the next thing you do, but it's something you want to do early in the process, is think about the states you want to work in and get licenses for those states. Of course, you could start traveling in your home state if your home state's big. Maybe like in Rhode Island, you couldn't be a traveler in your home state. But if you live in a big geographic state, you could even start traveling in your own state, as long as you're not close to your home. Or think about getting licensed in other states that you would want to go to. You do have to get licensure for each state you work in. We're close to getting an SLP compact if we do get it, and this is, I'm posting this in the beginning of 2023. If we do get the SLP compact approved this year, it's looking at maybe bringing in kind of some of the Midwestern and Southern states, like not any of the big East or West Coast states yet. So that license would still be limited. So as I speak now, you have to get licensed in every state you work in, and those licenses take a long time to come through, anywhere from weeks to months. Next, as you're researching the field, getting your licenses, or at least getting an idea of states you want to work in, you want to start talking to agencies and recruiters. So you're going to find your job through staffing agencies, and your one contact, your one person at those agencies is going to be a recruiter. So you want to start finding agencies and recruiters that you like and you want to work with. And I recommend finding a couple, especially in the beginning. Talk to 2, 3, 4, 5 people. You kind of weed out the people you like and don't like, and over time you change recruiters, and maybe you kind of hone more into one or another. But I would start by talking to a bunch of different recruiters, see who you like, who you connect with, who has the jobs and the money you want. And if you need help getting a recruiter, you can look in the description. I have linked to a service that helps to partner you with recruiters, Nomadicare. So definitely work on finding recruiters and talking to agencies, because that's going to take a while, and that's going to set a foundation for the rest of your travel career. Because if you have recruiters that you like working with and you have a good professional relationship with, it makes everything else you do a lot easier. After you connect with the recruiters and you know that there's some you want to work with, then you want to start credentialing with their agency, meaning you're filling out your resume, you're sending them references, you're actually saying, yes, I want to have this agency submit me to jobs. And in order for you to be submitted to jobs, they need like a baseline level of information about you. And this part gets annoying, it really does, because you might want to work for 5 different agencies to keep your job chances open, because different agencies have different jobs. And you basically have to apply to like 5 different agencies, and it's a lot of information. There's a service, an app called Kamana, where you can kind of digitally store your resume and credentials, and that can help a little bit. But yeah, it's kind of annoying. You have to credential with all these agencies. But then once you're credentialed, the next step is those agencies can then bring you jobs and submit you to jobs. So an agency can't submit you for a job without doing a background check on you. Like, they have to do their due diligence, they need to call your references and all that stuff. So once you have all that information uploaded, your agency can submit you to job. Now, once you're submitted to jobs, this is where it gets kind of different than a perm position. The next step would be having a phone interview for the position. So in travel, we almost never do in-person interviews. The video interviews, not so much either. Sometimes we would even get accepted to a job without an interview, which could be a tricky situation. But once you're submitted to a job, the next step would be phone interviewing with a facility. And this happens very quickly. Like, you might be submitted to a job and a couple hours later, you could get a phone interview. It could also take days, or it could never happen. And then this is where it gets kind of even more crazy. When you have that phone interview, within like a single day of the interview, you have to decide if you're taking the job or not. So you have to accept or decline the position very quickly. You can't sit and think about these things. Sometimes you might have more time to decide than another, but travel moves really quick. And when people want a traveler, it's because they want fast staffing. So if you're not going to accept a position quickly, they might just ask another person to take the job. So you have to act quickly in travel, accept or decline a position. Next, if you accept the position, then you would have to onboard with your agency, meaning you have to do all the background check stuff and all the like drug tests, TB tests, fit tests, all those things that you need to work in a facility. And again, that actually happens really fast too. So once you accept a job, things just kind of get like chaotic, and you end up doing things really, really quickly, really fast. So travel's like, it's exciting. It's not for like the slow paced people. Maybe it's very fast paced. But then once you're onboarding and you're kind of officially accepted to work the position, then you physically move to the job. It's like you find housing, you find a place to live, and you move to the job. Then you start working, and it's like you work a couple months and then you decide, am I gonna extend at this job, or am I gonna take another job somewhere else, and kind of repeat the process all over again. So in a nutshell, like that was a really quick nutshell, that is how you become a traveling SLP. So let me know what comments, questions you have, drop them, and I hope you find all my videos and information very helpful. I have a whole YouTube channel about Travel SLP and my blog, so check it all out, and thanks for joining me.